dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
That's right. Divorced dad, single dad. All good. Sunday night. Another Sunday night. We made it. We gave everybody a chance to tune in and catch up right here while I do the same. Don't forget, share, share, share. Let's do this. Sharing is caring. Just do it. All right. That sound. How the hell is everybody? Peter G Show, Sunday night. One of the last few Sunday nights left of the year. The year's almost over. Thanksgiving, gone. As I said last week, I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. And for those of you who struggled through it, we're over it. We're moving forward. We're going to talk about that tonight, too. For those of you who may have caught the Pastor Ray show a few weeks ago, I want to thank my listeners because he called me today or sent me a message today saying how wonderful you guys have been donating to his cause for taking care of the homeless over there in Baltimore, helping him provide blankets, heaters, things that they don't have. It's cold over there and it snows over there. And this man goes and takes care of these. I mean, does things way beyond what, I can hold a candle to. And I want to thank my listeners because he said it was you guys that have been donating to him and helping him get what he needs due to this show. So don't ever tell me that this doesn't work because there's living proof right there. Those of you who did what you did, I know it's not easy for everybody. Times are hard. I get it. I truly get it. But for those of you who did, God bless you and thank you from me, because I know I got good people in my out there in TV land. I know I do. The ones I have are solid. Anyway, let's get over here. What else we got going on tonight? Hey, Pete. I also want to give a belated happy birthday. I don't do that very often. To my friend Paul, my Florida liaison. When I am in Florida, he is there helping me a lot. Helping me a lot. And happy birthday to my buddy, long time, Paul. I don't usually do birthdays on the air, but he's special. Special. Anyway, God bless him too. He needs it. Yeah. Anyway, okay, where are we? Just a reminder, folks. Just a reminder. Let me get to my reminders. Where am I? Subscribe. I need people to subscribe to YouTube. I know. You know what? They're kicking me off, and I'm trying to behave on YouTube. I just don't know what is wrong. What they're censoring the shit out of me. For some reason, they're targeting me because what I do is nothing compared to some of the stuff I see on there, but they're after me. I can't talk about the current health situation anymore. They're after me. But subscribe to YouTube anyway. It's easy to find me there. You can get all the main shows. I'm going to try to behave, except the thing is, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. They're just coming after me. I can mention one word, and that's enough for them. And they're going to. And the third, if they get me one more time, I'm done. There'll be no more YouTube and I'd have to start over again with YouTube, which isn't any big deal. But I don't want to have to do that, so I'm going to try to behave. But subscribe to YouTube or LinkedIn or even Facebook. Even though I think Facebook is going to be in the past one day. What we got going on here? It's free. That's right. It's free. It's all free. And especially, I'll give you flashcards. Because the Peter G Show, okay, is back on podcasts again. All right? Podcasts. It's on iTunes now, so you can listen in the car while you're on the go. Take me with you. Listen to me at work. Put an earbud in. I get it. It's hard to watch TV. But just do it. Subscribe. It's all free stuff. I just want to be with you. If I get a laugh out of you or you get a lesson out of it, you learn something, I'm good. Don't forget, subscribe, okay? That way you don't miss things. It's important. I think it is. And last but not least, a lot of people don't think that their stories are worthy of. They have, they got things going on in their lives and they're just living it and they think, you never know how important your story is to help somebody who's way in the background suffering from the same kind of stuff you are. Email me. Tell me what's going on with you. Let us decide. I'll put you on the show. Believe me, if we help one person through your story, again, job well done. Because that's why we're here. We're sharing stories. Anything else I got? No. This show was supposed to be a different show tonight. I was going to be doing, and we had this way booked for months. I was going to have Miss Laura Chiranza. She's the author of 2 books on narcissism, surviving it. She's also a survivor, and she's ill. But lo and behold, I managed to pull from the Do Me a Solid list, and I was able to fill that slot because I have good people in my circle who are willing to step up to the plate when needed. And tonight I have Miss Cathy Nutt from the Artist First Radio Show Network. She's got her own show, Cathy Nutt, and she's on the show tonight in just a minute. Let's all catch our breath because this is exciting stuff. Don't forget, be a guest on this show. If you're worthy, you're on. If you're entertaining, you're on. You might not think it's important, but it's important. All right, folks. Let's see what we got going on over here. All right. So, let's do this, right? You ready? I'm ready. Catch my breath. Everybody buckle up. Because she will not disappoint. Without further ado, from the Artist First Radio Network, she has a weekly show on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Central every week. Every week. And she's always got something to talk about, and she's all over the map, and that's why I love her, because this is going to be a good show. She's been on my show once before, earlier in the year, and she came up and stepped up to the plate because I called her and said, hey, I got an emergency. And she said, yes, Peter, no problem. So she threw on her super suit and is here with us tonight. So I want to welcome you, again, radio talk show host from the Artist First Radio Network. She's got her own show, Miss Cathy Nutt. So, ladies and gentlemen,
woo! Hi, everybody. That's my favorite introduction I've ever had.
how are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so happy. I think Peter G might be the coolest guy I've ever known.
Oh, that's a hell of a statement right there.
I know. I'm making it, but I'm making it. I'm serious.
I know, but I'm going to say that if you think I'm the coolest guy you've ever known, then you don't get out much.
No, I'm serious about that. I love your introduction, and I love what you talk about, because you and we share the same interest. We share the same similar job. You do a way better job than I do. But you're so right. Everybody has a message, and what they want to say is great. And we're always inviting them to come on. And I'm glad that you got stuck with me tonight.
I didn't get stuck with you. You literally saved my ass. I mean, look, I can do the show myself. I've done them many a times, and we talked earlier about how shit happens, last minute guests, they forget. I've had guests on the East Coast that have fallen asleep and forgotten, because the show is so late over there. And it happens. So I can do it by myself, but I was literally sitting in my car because my daughter was at the gym and I was waiting for her to finish up, and I was just scrolling through stuff, Facebooks, this and that, and you popped up. And when you popped up, it's like, I just got through telling my daughter I was going to do the show myself because I had a cancellation, and then you popped up and I called you.
I'm so glad you did. And we can cover each other because we know how it is. Sometimes people get sick. We book them way in advance. They get sick, or we never know what might happen. And so, I had a guy on my show, and he forgot he was in a meeting, and he was so tied up in his meeting that he forgot he was supposed to be on my show. I know how it works, and I'm so glad to help you out. And you and I have such a great time. And you asked me earlier, you said, am I keeping you up late? And I said, yeah, you are, because you can keep me up late anytime you want to.
All right. All right. Okay. Yeah. I got to so how's your show going? Let's talk about you real quick and see what's going on.
You know what? I love it. It's fun and it's always informational. And I was going to talk about that because my show tomorrow, I'm doing 2 podcasts this week because last week my guest was sick. And so I'm doing 2 this week. And so tomorrow, I love our subject tomorrow. It's about anxiety, stress, and depression. And they're all real. And I've often been a person that didn't accept that with people, but honestly, I've learned. I know it's all real, and so our show is tomorrow on those 3 subjects, and also how it affects people and our friends that are closest to us. You and me, we got some problems, at Christmas and the holidays. That's what our subject's about. You and I have something, and you introduced yourself, and I'm going, Peter. Okay. You are a divorced dad, and you are you're divorced, but you are the most fantastic dad, one of the most fantastic dads I've ever known. So I'm just going to say that.
There's a lot of great dads out there. A lot of great dads that don't get the credit they deserve. A lot of great dads that had to fight to be great dads. There's a lot of piece of crap dads out there too, and there's a lot of piece of crap women out there, mothers out there, and there's great mothers out there. There's a little bit of everything in every category. I just happen to want to be one of them, and that's the one I choose to be. Well,
you just own it, and I think it's admirable. And so I'm going to break that up right now about you and me.
Right.
We're divorced, and we talked about this earlier. It changes all dynamics of our holidays. And honestly, the family thing was what was so huge in my life, I'm sure in yours, and especially for holidays. Hell, I don't even put up a tree anymore. My boys will say, Mom, can you put up a little tree? I say, okay, put a little silver thing, that has some few little balls on it. But no, it's different. And so when it became so different for me, I had to change the dynamics for me to not be that person that's sad and depressed through the entire 3 or 4 weeks. I love Thanksgiving. It's my time that I want to be with my kids. But I said, you know what? You want Christmas? You got Christmas, because that's just not such a big deal for me. I love it, or did love it. And we all did as a family. You did. But it's different now. And those family times will never, ever, ever be the same again. For you or for me. They just won't, because it's all different. It's not that different is horrible. Different is just different. So I was telling you earlier, I said, I figured out Christmas. I thought, dang, what am I going to do? I'm by myself. Well, I go to Vegas every year. I go to Vegas like Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I think I got it figured out, but the dynamics of it changes so much when you're divorced, because it was such a joyous time. And it's not that joyous. I don't care if you're happy and you're remarried and you're living large and you're in love with someone else. The dynamics are all changed. So what we had back in those days it's totally gone. It will not return in that way that our family will be together. So we have to create the new dynamics. So
I
how
think
have
even
you created yours, Peter G?
well, you know what? Look, mine are very up and down. I mean, when your kids get older, too, things change. They're gone. I left. I wasn't around my parents when these past 30 years. I mean, I'd come home once in a while for Christmas, but a lot of times I didn't. I couldn't or wouldn't, or I had things going on. And we're a small family. Was a small family. Now I'm even smaller family. And you make that phone call, and that's it's just different, and and I know you just make the best of it, because I'm telling you, Cathy, there's more to life than just Christmas and Thanksgiving, and you have to get through every day with your I mean, it helps. It's overemphasized, and it can make a lot of people spiral downwards really bad, and I hate that. But the thing is, I don't know, to me it's like, if you can just get through it, and then tomorrow's another day, and we go from there.
Totally agree. Because so much emphasis has been put on it, and it's just really it's a tough gig though for people. So that's what I'm trying to understand. That's what I'm going to tell you about. Because I have not been that understanding of a person, of people that get sad and get really depressed and sink into it. Like the way you described it, that's how we handle it. We do this, we move on, we just think it's another day. But for so many that are suffering with the loss of someone, a divorce, that's a super loss. You've lost your family. Or you've lost a loved one, you've lost a parent, or you've lost a child. I mean, it changes all of that. And so I hate myself for this, but I've never been very as understanding as I should have been with so many people that have lost someone, that changed it all. And some people want to sink. They like to sink into that sadness. And for me, I like to escape and just push it way back there somewhere that's stored back in a storage building that I don't even want to look at. But it's real. And that's what my subject is tomorrow, is that it is real for people. And you can't just tell someone. I've done it before. It was a big failure. I said, you got to bounce out of that. Come on. Come on. Shake it off. It's not that easy.
It's not that easy. And I don't think people like to sink themselves. And I just think they just, look, I'll go back into this. When I got divorced, I had never been divorced before. I only been married once. It took me a long time before I actually got married. So when I saw everything getting ready to burn to the ground, I was inexperienced at it and not that good at it. And so I wasn't good at it. And so I think I handled it somewhat better than some people. I didn't completely drink myself under the table. But, the thing is, some people don't fare that well. And we talked about that last week with Bob Paff and everything. It's like everybody's got different levels of how they handle things, and some people don't, and off themselves. I mean, I can honestly say that this year, I know many people that are going to be parentless for their first year, for the first time ever, going to be childless, unfortunately, for the first time ever. Both young and old. You can be old and have an older child that looks like an old guy or girl, but if you're older, but these things happen and it sucks. But what do you do? And 1 year is going to lead to 2 years, and 2 years is going to be 3 years. And you just somehow, through the help and people around you, and you learn how to just get through it. It's not going to ever get better. You just learn how to accept it and get through it.
Totally agree. And I say this to people. I'm surprised I'm saying this on radio, but I do. Some people call me the divorce whisperer because I feel like I have really good advice for people. But the reason, what I always say is like, gosh, if I didn't have my faith, I couldn't make it through anything. I really couldn't. And I think it helps us so much to be strong in our faith, because you just can't. You can't make it through the next day. But I totally agree with you in all the things that you say. And so I think we're kind of on the same wavelength, you and I are. And I didn't know that you didn't handle it well, because I've only known that you have handled it well.
I got better.
That's what we have to do, is get better at it.
Yeah, but I had, I smashed my head several times, just banging my head against the wall because it drives you crazy. I mean,
It
because
does.
mine was not a amicable divorce, and
Are there
again,
any amicable
there are.
divorces?
There
Yeah.
are not many, but there are, and
Mhm.
but still, and I, through talking to a lot of people through the years, because again, the whole show when I started was all about surviving divorce and single parenting because you have children that depend on you and you have to keep your act together. Because Lord knows I have seen so many parents that have not done well, and the children end up going to the grandparents. And the poor grandparents now are having to take on raising children all over again. They're older, and it's not easy. But I do know that, if I was to ever get divorced again, which I hope not, because I would be better at it. And I don't mean better at like winning or this and that, because nobody wins. I
No one
just
wins.
going through that experience, one that I've never had. You kind of learn, like, you know what, this is not worth that, and so you try to be better, but anger really makes you do a lot of stupid shit. It really does. And that's
Well,
life.
I feel like the way that you said that, I know that you said if I got divorced, I'd be better at. But if I got married again, I'd be better at it. I feel like
Okay, I
I
get
would
it.
be better, and
Mm,
I like to blame the other one 100%, but it's so not right, So I would be better at it. I promise.
I get it, but there's times I was talking about, like, this is it. I don't care how better you were. Maybe the person you married wasn't better at it. Okay. And so you're going through divorce. If you were to go through a divorce again, that knockdown drag out, I would try to avoid, but again, my battle was over our child. I didn't really
Yes.
care about the stuff. I walked away from the stuff
Mhm.
because my lawyer looked at me and said, you got to decide what you want to fight for, because it's all going to cost money. It's like, I don't want to fight about nothing. I just want what's mine, and I felt that I should be a equally, a responsible parent to a child, my one and only. And she wasn't having it at the time. And after 3 years of court battles, she never got 5 seconds more. I've said it a million times, but it wasn't that I was a bad father, but it's just anger makes you make bad decisions. So
It does. And I always say this, I always say there's two different people. The one you married and the one you divorced. Two totally
yeah,
different people. But we didn't have that. And honestly, when you have grown kids, it makes everything much easier. If you have to fight over the custody and the time that can go on forever. And it's a sad situation. And honestly, it is, that saying that the only people that get rich out of this are the attorneys, and that's probably pretty right.
absolutely right. And and the holidays, a lot of people, because I was talking last year, I was talking to a bunch of attorney and assistants to the attorneys and stuff like that. And with COVID and people locked down so much, normally a lot of people will try to stomach it through the holidays, and then all of a sudden the wife or the husband's filing for divorce after the first of the year. Well, they weren't waiting last year. Last year the attorneys were busier than
Yeah.
ever because they were already locked up with the person they kind of were having a problem with, and now they really just couldn't take it anymore. And there was a lot of divorces going on right on through the holidays, way earlier than normal, sadly, because the holidays puts a lot of pressure on things too.
It does, and the suicide rate is up astronomically in this entire country. The divorce rate is, and sometimes I've seen people go through illness. Just to say they've gone through a several week illness, and they'll say, "If I ever get up out of this bed, I'm going to get a divorce because I'm unhappy. My marriage is terrible." And I've seen that, and so sometimes when you go tumultuous times, then you think, hey, life is short and I'm not going to live like this. And that's what happens. So, talking, I have several friends that are divorced. Of course, we basically have friends that are divorced or single, or maybe their husbands or spouses have died, whatever. And we were talking the other night just on the patio, and one of them said, in my opinion, and she's been remarried for 25 years. She said, in my opinion, I th- I had to laugh. She said, "I think all couples should stay together." I go, "Okay, well that's 100%, of course." So, looking back, you and I, we could have another whole show on that. Is that, um, yeah, couples should stay together. They should work it out, fix it out, duke it out, beat them up, whatever you have to do. Lock them in the room for 2 years, whatever it takes. I feel like couples should work it out. Unless you have something that is just unforgivable. But it's just so easy now to say, I ain't living like that. I'm out. So
It
anyway,
is. It is easy, but the thing is, yes, you got married for a reason. You did, and you got to remember that, but for some reason, things just after a while, things changed or whatever. You changed, he changed, she changed, whatever. And there's nothing much you can do. It takes two to get married and one to get divorced. It takes. That's the way it is. It took me, an hour, a couple of hours to get married. Honestly, with the actual ritual. And it took 3 years for me to get divorced. I mean, it's totally not. It's not fair.
it's not fair.
It's not fair.
Well, I was married for 31 years and it took us 3 months to get divorced. It was pretty easy, but that's because kids were not involved.
Right.
But was it the right thing to do? Heck, no, it wasn't. But it's just what at the time, you think you do it, you move forward, and then once you move forward, then you go, it's in the rearview mirror. But the one thing that I want to say is about you and your situation. The thing that when I first met you and we talked, I knew that your love of your life was your daughter. And so I thought, hey, that's the most important thing. You've got it. You're going to do just fine. And so I feel like you have, and the things that you do on your show really help a lot of other people. Just like you were talking about your past show that you got donations and things. So I think you're moving in the right directions. And sometimes when you help others, I always say that when you're sad, I tell my kids, if you feel down and out, you need to turn it out. You need to help other people. You need to find a different purpose in helping other people. Help them to do something. Feed other people. Do something that brings you back to the gratefulness that you need to have. But I feel like you've always had that, and I think that's why you've excelled so well. Am I right or wrong?
Look, I can't say it enough that how grateful I am. I mean, for all the. I mean, we pretty much burned everything to the ground, which I didn't want to. I didn't have a choice. And starting over again, recreating myself, all of the above was, I mean, most people, I can see why people harm themselves or do bad things or that they don't know what they're doing. I truly do. But I have that one little bit, as insane as I am in a lot of ways, I have that one little speck of sanity that goes, Peter, you can't do this. And then on top of that, I had this little child that I completely adored from this millisecond she popped out. It opened up a door in me that beyond my, and through all that, I have wanted to be there every step of the way as much as possible to try to shape that child, which she's got a lot of stuff within her that I just got lucky. I mean, all I was doing was just ensuring the shape, but she already has a personality or an old soul or a stability. Stability is probably the word, more so than a lot of children. And so she made it actually pretty easy for me. And then on top of that, making it so easy for me, I'm just like gaga over her because I'm just thrilled because she hasn't run me to hell and back yet.
Well, you know what? I think, am I right or wrong? Is she driving now? I think she was about to get a car and start driving the last we spoke.
Driving me crazy. No, she's not driving me crazy. No, she's got her learners, and by March she'll be out on her own. She turned 16 at this month. She'll turn 16 right before Christmas. But from the time she got her learner permit, you have to have that permit for 6 months, regardless of what age you are, before you can get your actual license. So she'll be driving by early March on her own. So we're doing a lot of driving right now because I spend almost every day, whether she's with me or not, picking her up and letting her go around to do her chores and all this kind of stuff she does for her horses. And so I let her drive me to these places. And so far, I haven't really grabbed the door handle too hard a couple of occasions, but she's doing okay. She's doing pretty good.
Dads are the best driving teachers.
Do
They
you
are.
think?
Oh, heck yeah. I couldn't teach my kids how to drive because I didn't have the patience, but dads do. So that's good.
I shit one time because it was a double turn lane left, and there was no, a lot of turn lanes have like lines in the road to help you know where you're at, and she just went wide. And thank God I knew there was nobody in the outer turn lane, but she just went right on over, and I didn't grab the wheel, I just did it, but I did freak out. Because I need to make sure that she knows you can't do that.
It's so funny because I always tell my kids, I said, don't turn left. If you have to turn left, you need to make the block. Make sure you're always making a right turn. So there was my driving tip.
Oh shit! Then they're never going to get. It's going to take them double the time to get where they're going.
It's going to take them a lot of time. But by the way, they didn't listen to me. They turned left a lot. So.
Oh, good.
Well, I got a good question for you.
Okay, who's interviewing you?
I think I'm interviewing you now.
Yeah.
So, are you like open? I mean, it's very difficult. I don't even know, but I have all these friends that go, "Hey, is he single? He's really cute." And I go, "Well, I don't know, but I'll try to find out." So,
sweetheart, look. What you see right here? Look, let's get it closer. This is all Hollywood magic. What you see here is not really what's here. So what they said, distance is the best defense, or whatever it is. But this is all. Take this with a grain of salt. People see me. Go ahead.
Obviously, you do want to have another. Do you realize that you could be married to your next spouse for as long as you were married to that spouse? Do you realize that? You could be.
That wasn't that long.
That's my point. You could even be married longer.
I know, but I don't want. Yeah, I don't want that. Because I did. Now, looking back at it now, she probably did me a favor because it was difficult. And again, I don't blame her, but there was things in the background that you just can't help. But I got married with the intentions. I think everybody gets married with the intentions of staying married. Most people do. But it just, 5 years. I mean, we were together 13 total, but I to me, that's why I'm not rushing into anything, because unless I'm getting knocked off my feet mentally, I'm gonna just keep it where it's at because I'm busy right now. So I'm not that focused on relationships. I'm too busy. I'm still in the growing stage right here, and if I can't keep myself happy yet, how the hell am I going to make somebody else happy? I'm just being honest.
No, for sure. I mean, that's a good answer. But yeah, there's not anyone, I don't think, that goes and gets married that thinks that it will end in divorce. And so no one plans that. It's not cool. So definitely we don't plan that. But sometimes things happen, and it happens. I do think it's become too easy though for people to just say. In fact, you can hear people, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll just get divorced. And I think that's not.
You're already divorced. You're already got one foot out.
Already. Yeah.
And that's too easy. So you're saying, and that's the problem. Everybody is very 15 minutes, very, and if it doesn't work, we just stop. My mother and father, my God, there was times when I'm going, how the hell did you guys ever get married? I mean, just screaming at each other, but old school, they lived through World War I, World War II. And so they're a different breed of people. And so you have these knockdown dragouts, but they brush themselves off at the end, and somehow or another, they just put it behind them. Whereas nowadays, people don't even get to that point. They just go, you know what? This is bothering me. I'm out. I'm out. It's so easy. Quitting is easy. Easy.
Quitting is easy.
Yeah.
It is. And did you ever see that? I loved it. Did you ever see that series on Netflix, Mad Men? Or it was on TV too. Did you ever see that?
Probably back in the past. I remember it was like an older ad agency type.
Yes,
thing.
yes, yes. It's a fantastic series. It's wonderful. But
Right.
all of those people in the show, it was kind of enlightening for me to watch because they all had there were several couples in the whole show that it was about, and they all had multiple problems that everybody has in life. They all did. But they did what you said your parents did. They duked it out, whatever they had to do, brushed it off and said, okay, here we go again. For the rest of their lives, I'm thinking, well, it's admirable. It's really admirable. But
I
anyway,
mean, some shouldn't, but you can't bite at every bump in the road. You just can't. You have to learn to pick and choose your battles, and I'm learning. I mean, I learned a lot from other people, but I have a long way to go. I mean, like I said, it's like some people will jump out of the frying pan and right into the fire. I'm not that guy.
me neither.
No. And so, I do believe that, I don't want to be single, but I'm pretty happy. I mean, for the most part, I'm not afraid, being alone doesn't bother me. I'm busy. I still have a daughter that kind of keeps me a little bit busy, but I always find something to do. And I don't think I don't think I ever get lonely. I like sharing my time with somebody I want, that's nice. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I don't force the issue. But it is nice to break it up, try to find that balance. I'm just not, I'm a little bit heavy on one side right now still, to where this show sucks up a lot of my time. I told you, earlier, it's like I don't have enough people. And it's growing and it's getting harder and harder. And I have to focus on this because I put in, I didn't do this just to, I got nothing else to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
I really believe in what we're doing, and I want it to be better for everyone, bigger, better. But unfortunately, it takes up a lot of my time. And I just like to stay focused that way because I'm easily distracted. I mean, I can easily, go do something, but I'm trying to behave and just kind of take it one day at a time. Now, if something, happens and comes along, things just happen, but I don't force the issue.
Same. I think if you force the issue, you're in trouble.
Well, a lot of people don't want to be lonely, and a lot of people just have to have somebody by their side. I'm not that way. I'd like somebody by my side, especially if they're cool, that's the whole thing. But if I don't, I'm okay too.
Yeah.
Just life.
Same. I feel the same. The wrong person is not going to be by my side. I'll tell you that.
No. Hey, I want to ask you something.
Sure.
Because now I want to ask you something.
Ask me anything. Yeah, I forgot. You're interviewing me. Okay.
Yeah. Well, not even interviewing. You were helping me. I wanted to talk about the holidays and things like that, Christmas. And now we're kind of getting deep into the personal side of the holidays, which is fine because I have many shows since before Thanksgiving. It's called Getting Through the Holidays. Mm-hmm. So, we're getting through the holidays, and this is how we're doing it. I'm sure that somebody can relate to some part of what we're talking about. And if it helps them, great. But I was on your show. This is how we met. You invited me. This is the first time we started doing this because you invited me to be on your radio show. Now,
yes.
Did I kill your ratings?
No. I think my ratings have gone out the roof since then.
Get out of here. Because
For sure.
I always wonder, because I can't tell, and I'm going, I finish up somebody's show and I'm going, I think I was like a little too excited, especially the last show I did with you when we were talking about, unfortunately, politics and stuff.
Of course.
And I didn't know if I chased off your people or not.
No. Honestly, it's kind of like anything else. Controversy creates interest, and you and I are on the same page on our politics and things, which I love, and it creates interest in. Honestly, there were some controversial statements about it, but I thought, hey, that's good news. It's kind of like people are listening and they're paying attention and they're saying, hey, I didn't like he said this. And now I'm thinking, oh, that's good.
Do you get feedback from your show? Because I don't know how your show works.
I get feedback. I get emails. I always invite them to email me, and then my producer, the engineer, gets emails too, and He lets me know who's listening, how many live listeners. It's kind of cool because I can know how many live listeners there are, how many people actually download the show later as a podcast.
All
And
right.
so I do get feedback.
Oh, good.
And
Because I just figured, oh, they go, get that guy off of here.
well, no one said that to me, that's for sure, directly. And so there was a couple of things that said, "Oh my gosh, y'all are so conservative. You guys are on this side," and blah blah. And I said, "Yeah," and it's called freedom of speech. And
Yeah, you
there
can't
we
please
go.
everybody.
No,
Right.
you don't. But at least they're listening.
Well,
So
that was just that one show because it was hot at that time. What we
it
were
was hot.
talking about. And you
Mhm.
got my motor started, and then once I took off, I had to reel myself back in. But unfortunately, the show was over by the time I calmed down. Because it was.
Well,
I
let's
was
do
just.
it again. We'll do it again, and we won't talk politics.
Yeah, I just it just happened to happen. But I mean, I was just wondering because we hang up and it's like, okay, thanks, and then I'm on to the next thing and you're on to the next thing. So I just wanted to ask you. I go, compare, because you have a lot of different guests. You're all over the you go from one extreme to the other also. And I was just wondering, am I doing you any good or am I doing you any harm?
No, you're always doing me good. You could be on my show anytime you want to. And that's what I like about my show is it's variety. And I started it because I wanted to promote entrepreneurs. And and it started out like that, and heck, then it blossomed into all kinds of other things. And I do a lot of sports. I like to talk sports. It's like something that I feel like I have knowledge about, which maybe I do and maybe I don't, but I got as much as the next person. So anyway, it's a variety show. And no, I like this. Your show right now would be a hot show for me. This would be a hot show for me on my show.
What do you mean? Oh, what we're talking about right now?
Yeah, people love it. And I always tell people, I say, we're just going to talk on the phone. Just pretend like we're talking on the phone. It's not a big deal. You can cuss. You can say whatever you want. You got freedom of speech. You can cut down people. You can do whatever you want. It is going to be fun. And so, as we say, the time passes fast. We have a lot of fun, and I hope that, and I'm kind of like you, and I know you're the same. I hope I'm helping someone out there in the midst of all this. That's my goal, is to help others in their businesses, or to help people like you did, the homeless and stuff. That's my goal. That's what I want to do.
I was just helping to share the message. It was Pastor Ray who's actually helping the homeless. I mean, to me, it's like I'm just a vehicle to get the message out, and that's why I want people to show to share stories and things like that, because it's not me. Yes, I do pull from a lot of my own experience, just like we were talking. You guys started asking me about my divorce, and I'm an open book about that. I mean,
Right.
I'm not going to blame anybody the he said she said bullshit, but the thing is, I talk about how things went down and what it does to you and how you respond to these things and how you survive these things. But I'm just the vehicle. I'm just like, I happen to have a show and somebody has something worthy of putting on. Like I said, I found Pastor Ray through one of my friends. I do every month. Bob Paff from Baltimore comes on my show, and he was friends with him, and I've seen him on his show. I go, you know what? He's doing good, and I want to talk. For some reason, I just decided I want to talk about it. So I contacted him, and he said, "Sure, I'll be glad to do it." And that's how that works. But it's hard finding people with stories that are willing to come on sometimes. But he definitely is doing good work. It's not me. I'm just helping him get his message out.
But that's what the cool thing is that you and I both do, is we are a vehicle, and our vehicle helps those people. So, maybe they don't have the avenues to do that, and we provide
Right.
that for them. So it's a good cause.
It's hard. This vehicle is like a jalopy, and
No, your vehicle is it's so well polished, way more than mine is. It is.
I
Your
don't
vehicle is good.
Like I said, we have bigger aspirations, and this is just like a stepping stone. But yeah, I guess you kind of got to go through what you got to go through to get to where you're going in life in general, and especially in this show. So we're doing the best we can with what we got. But I got way bigger, ideas and ways that we want to take the show. I just don't have the manpower yet, but it's coming.
I'm wondering about this because California. this is just the rumor I hear. You
No.
guys have been shut down and closed down for so long. We have been wide open for so long. And so I feel like those things will harbor your intentions for your show and everything else you want to do. How can you possibly overcome all that shut down to really excel in anything that you do there? I can't see it. I'm saying I hear this on television, and everything, but I mean, we're flourishing here. I hate to tell you, we're flourishing here. We are wide open. We are having wonderful sports. We're having all kinds of, everyone does whatever they want to do, when they want to do it.
The norm.
The norm. And so there's no way that you're cannot hurt your businesses. Makes no sense.
It's killing everybody.
It is.
It's not killing me per se, because I was fortunate enough, because of the way we do this show, it didn't affect me one bit, because I don't have 200 people working for me. I don't on a sound stage and things like that. So my show never stopped going, where they took the late night shows and all these talk shows, and all of a sudden they were shut down. And then they put them in everybody in the talk show hosts. They put them in their homes or their offices, and they didn't know what to do with themselves, because it was so not the normal way of the way they do the show. They were doing my show, and I'm used to talking to a dead camera, or if I don't have a guest, and no audience applause. Well, I do have audience applause.
Yeah, I got that. I like it.
But it's not the same. So they were freaking out, and it was business as usual. So it was kind of cool, but they got paid millions and millions of dollars still, and couldn't even do their job right. I mean, they clearly admitted it. A lot of these guys, they were naked. They were doing TV naked, and it wasn't pretty. But California's kind of screwed. I just got back. We've been traveling a little bit over the past couple of weeks over the holidays, and I was in the land of the free too for a couple of weeks, and we didn't have to wear masks, and it was a great Thanksgiving of not, because I'm telling you, all the hours on the plane, it ought to be a sin. I was having trouble breathing when I was hustling through the airport, and I decided to wear like the surgical type mask this time instead of like a black cloth mask. I think those are even harder. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I was huffing and puffing, and I'm getting hyperventilating a couple of times, and I'm going, this sucks. This sucks really bad. And when we got out of that airport, my daughter and I were ripping those things off, and it's like, get these and just in the trash until we got back to California. And now in California, it's back to going to the grocery store. Did you bring your mask? And going anywhere. And it just, I may have to attend, unfortunately, a funeral next week for a friend of mine's father who lived to the ripe old age of 98 years old. So that's friggin' awesome. But and I'm thinking to myself, are we going to have to wear masks, at a funeral? And just, it just, so it sucks. And there's nothing you can do about it over here, because they've got it. They got everybody so well trained. I'm watching on Facebook. I'm seeing people I know, their children now showing their arms with a Band-Aid on it and going, just got vaccinated. And I'm sad, because I don't, that's just me. I don't think a child needs to be vaccinated. They have no 0.0023 a chance of getting sick. If you count the amount of children that died over, I don't want to get into that politics, because again, that's what I got canned for. But if people would open up their eyes, they see that there's the less risk. They got more chances of getting hit by a train. So
I know we
California.
can have a whole show on that too. And it's interesting, isn't it? And it just continues. It's the fear factor.
They've done well. They've done well.
Factor going on.
I had a woman from Australia that takes care of, helps divorced and single parents share homes and things, because it's so expensive to live. And so she puts together people and groups them and tries to match them up in certain ways so that way they can have a better quality a residency, so, for their children, and better quality areas to live in by combining forces and sharing. And and they're in Australia. I mean, talk about lockdown. They've got it even worse than we've got it.
Yes.
It's a friggin' martial law over there.
Well, it's kind of interesting. And I'm going to say this and we're going to move on. But okay, so Israel is one of the most highly vaccinated places, right? And they still have it going crazy. Okay, I don't get it. So whatever.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, but I can't because they're going to hit me
we
for.
can't.
They're going to hit me for. YouTube's going to shut me down for medical misinformation, which is for saying I don't want to go there. Let's talk about. Unfortunately, but. I just ask people to open their eyes.
I'm going to change the subject real quick because I told you earlier, and I think this is really cool because I didn't know this. I was listening to a radio station. I don't even say which one, but they were saying that, and I think this is so awesome, that they said that 82% of people that listen to the radio or a podcast, they retain what they heard, as opposed to watching television or advertising on TV or anything on television. When you're watching it, you're not as you don't really comprehend all the things as if you're watching TV. But radio and our podcast, people will retain 82% of what they hear on our show. How cool is that?
Maybe that's why nobody remembers what the hell I do.
No, 82% does remember.
But the thing is that up until a month and a half ago, we weren't doing the iTunes podcasts. For 3 years now, 2 years, I haven't been on podcasts. So either you watch the show or you don't. So they're watching the show, and that explains why the memory retention is especially for me. I'm on the show and I don't remember half the shit I say.
Well, I don't either. But supposedly the people that do listen to us, they can remember. I mean, I think it's kind of cool as compared to television, I'm saying. So what we're doing is going to be helpful if we put out some good information out there.
Well, you're full on radio. I mean, you do all the radio but for me, we just got so busy, and then COVID hit and my podcast got all messed up. We used to just take the the shows and then transfer them over. Well, we're back doing that now. I think we got about six shows up now, and every week they'll be going up there. And I'm going to try to get at least this year backlogged and eventually upload some of the older shows from this year. And then we'll be able to just go at it week by week. But I hope people take the podcast. I know people love podcasts. I don't understand how people decide what they want to listen to because there's 80 million podcasts out there. I have a hard enough time if I'm watching TV on Prime or something, deciding. I end up spending 20, 30 minutes looking to see what I want. And then I get frustrated. I go, forget it. I'm going to bed.
I think it's very difficult, but a lot of people will just Google the subject that they want to talk about. Like if you and I talk about divorce or after divorce or whatever, a lot of them Google that and it comes up. And so it's very difficult because there's so many choices because so many people are doing it. We talked about TikTok earlier and things like that people are watching. And so it's very difficult. The thing that you and I have, or we have following. And so our followers will listen. You bring a guest on, they have followers. They're going to listen. Our followers are going to listen. So you just keep trying to grow that circle. And I think it's very important when you have a guest that they bring some knowledge to the table. Like I'm not bringing any knowledge tonight, but we're having a great discussion because that's what we do. But you want someone to bring something to that table.
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, look, I found that. Look, one week I'll have this guest on, and people was, I loved your show, and then all of a sudden I'm doing something else, and I'm getting bitched at. You can't please everybody. You just can't. I know that certain subjects trigger certain people, but I just hope that they dig the show enough to where they can oversee. Okay, it wasn't my favorite show, but I still like the show because he still does stupid stuff, and he kind of makes sense once in a while, and the jokes aren't the greatest. Except for his Halloween joke. That was a great joke. but he's tolerable. I can put up with him, so I'll watch him.
Well, I kind of like it if they get all riled up and have controversy. I kind of like that. I think, well, it creates interest, and I'm open to people's opinion, and I get some of that, and it's really, really weird when I do. But I think both sides are good.
Yeah. I want to ask you another question because it's starting to get late. I hear that you're not only do your radio show, but I heard you're on a sport, because you're a sports chick, right? You're like, if I was, let's put it this way, if I was dating you and you'd be watching sports and I'd be, honey, when is it going to be over?
Guess what? I don't watch sports anymore. I don't. I don't
really?
watch it. I really don't.
I see some fantastic looking women that are on Facebook that I know, and they are sport fanatics. I'm going, God, I couldn't date her. I just, because I would be the bummer, it's like, I don't want to watch it. I just don't. But you are into sports, right?
Well, that was my life. I mean, that was my life for 35 years. And even my sons and my daughter, were athletes. Hell, I was an athlete. I mean, I was a good athlete. But yes, it was my life and I did, but I don't have to do that anymore. So I don't. But I am very knowledgeable about the games. And so one thing that I did this year, which I'm really proud of, because it wasn't in my personality to do this, but I spent 8 weeks promoting Arkansas State University athletics here, which is where I live now, and in Arkansas. And, we were here as my ex-husband was the head basketball coach, and we had a wonderful career here. We raised our kids here. It was great. But when he got fired, heck, I got rid of all my red and black clothes. I said, I'm done with that. Well, so it took me a little time. I'm back to it. And, I don't feel animosity at all. And I love that. And so I'm promoting their athletics, which they need, as everybody does in this country needs, because they've been through the COVID virus too. And so I know about sports. I know more intellectual things that are so much better than what's happening out on the field or on the court. Because I like to talk about how parents can ruin sports for kids. I like to talk about how athletes continue after their career and try to be happy and do something else because it's all they know. Okay, this fits it simply, and you'll understand this. My part and my role in our radio show is that I bring human interest stories, and that's all I care about. I want people to know the people. I want them to know the person. I want them to know the coach, the player, the past player. I want to bring them back to life as they were once very popular, and maybe not, people forget. I'm in human interest. That's what my story's about. I mean, I could care less what's going on, what they're doing wrong. I probably know what they're doing wrong, but I don't say it. I don't really care. And I don't watch it. I watch it live because I'm doing it and I'm reporting on it. But do I care who wins or loses? Heck no, I am free. I'm free from that bondage.
Okay, but I heard that you're now doing a sport podcast, aren't you?
But I bring human interest stories. That's my job. That's totally different. I bring the guests. I can get guests. I can get famous guests. I can get live guests here. Anyone, if I can always get that guest, I bring the guest. I bring the guests and their story to the show so that the public or the fans or the people will know them as a person and not just as the player or the coach. I bring their human interest stories. And so that's what I do. But yes, it is a sports talk show, but that's my gift. And so that's what I do.
Okay.
That's
but the thing
part.
is, what you're doing, but now you're doing a sport podcast, so to speak, and you're going to be doing your weekly radio show. When is this podcast air?
We do it. Okay. So my podcast every day is every Wednesday at 3 Central, which would be 1 your time. And that's the variety. But we do our sports talk radio show every 2 weeks, and it's live. And it's so much fun. So basically, I do the interviewing. I let everybody else talk. And I have an engineer. He's amazing. He's like you. He can do anything. And he plays, he's like a DJ, plays wonderful music when we take a break or, Anytime that he introduces someone is a special song for them. And so he does that. And so I just basically do the questions like you and I do. And it's all coaches and athletes.
But how do they find your new show? I mean,
I
what's it called?
find them. It is the Jay Ritchie Live Show. And he is my partner. He's out of Memphis. And he has a partner named Ray Brown, who now lives in LA and played for the San Francisco 49ers for almost 20 years. And so he's also a partner of ours. And so it's the Jay Ritchie, Richie live show. And we're going to be live in Memphis in a couple of weeks. And he goes to Dallas. I haven't made that trek yet, but he goes all over and does them. And so I join him here mostly.
Gotcha. Because I mean, I'm just thinking that even though you do it live, but when it goes to podcast, people can find it and listen to it anytime they want.
Yes,
right?
Yes, and that's yes, and he's actually on YouTube also, has a YouTube channel.
Jay Ritchie Live.
Jay Ritchie Live.
Jay Ritchie Live. Wow. So you're a busy girl.
I'm a busy girl, and I always say that he is very gifted. He's the engineer. He can make everything go. He makes me sound good, makes everybody else sound good. And I have the gift of talking.
Oh.
As you do.
Yeah, I've been told. But I just figured, well, I might as well start using it. Use it or lose it, which again, life is full of choices, and I've had to make some changes, but I actually enjoy this. I really do. The music stuff, I want to bring some of that back in time, but see, that's where you have to have a bigger show. And a lot of people look at me and they go, Peter, I can't believe you're not playing music anymore, because, it seems unfathomable to me. Growing up, I never thought I'd step away either. But again, life is full of choices, and I had to make a choice. And when I was, again, back to divorce, when I had to go back and talk about that kind of stuff, and I made a choice, and I had to stay home. There was no more touring or anything like that, taking off. So otherwise, I'd be giving up everything that I fought for. So, it's been quite a road. Yeah, sacrifice, but it's just been quite a journey. A journey, because I was literally kind of scared, going, I'm not normal, and I don't like doing normal people jobs.
Either.
And I'm not. I've never been, because I've been a musician most of my life, and I've done things in between, with the struggle and things like that, but it was never permanent, because I'm just not one of those kind of people who conforms to the norm. And I'm not super weird or anything like that. I just have different ideologies in my head and different ways I want to live. And to me, I think the one thing that everybody needs to live is, you need to live happily. I don't care what you do. You just got to be happy.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, I think you do a great job, and I love your message. I love your platform. It's amazing. It's a wonderful platform for a lot of people, and you provide that for a lot of people, and I love it. So you do a great job, and I think, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep going.
Well, thank you very much. I will. You know what? I wasn't gonna, but now I'm going to. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Just do it.
I'm gonna just do it. But the year is over. This year is gone. In a few more weeks, we are out the door. And actually, I've never been one to want to push time faster, because I feel it's going too fast as it is. But I'm ready for. I've never been one of those people either, like, this year's got to be better than last year, or like, it can't, but I'm actually, because in this business, all new stuff arises after the first of the year through the summer. Once you get past into the fall, nobody's creating new shows. Nobody's putting out new money for stuff like that. And I'm looking forward to it this year, because we are growing and things are getting bigger. And I'm looking forward, and whatever happens. I don't sit and dwell on it. We're just doing what we're doing. And if I get the opportunity to do it bigger, better, I'm in, but I'm happy. That's the thing. I'm happy.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think if your state will open up a little bit, I think you'll flourish. I really do. So let's just keep that going and keep that thought going, and we'll see what happens.
I did not decorate at all this year, because we were gone we just got back, and I just too much going on in my personal life. I really thought I was going to make some residential changes and things like that, you know, and because you know, it's like, I don't really have to be here. I can
No.
be anywhere, you know.
But your daughter's there. That's why you're there. You told me that once.
You're correct. You're
Mhm.
correct. And but my daughter's like, it's okay, but to me it's not okay. So
Yeah.
I'm, you know, it's like, it's a big. So the thing was that we were tossing this idea around, and so I said, well, I'm not breaking out all the Christmas stuff, and because I like decorating, I really do. I mean, I like the lights. I'm still a big kid when it comes to that kind of stuff. Kinda. I like the serenity of the lights, like coming home to a lit tree in a dark house. I could sit in a chair and do stuff just with that tree glimmering, and I don't know, it's this beautiful silence about it, at least to me. But I can also do without it. I've had many years without it, so
I
yeah.
loved it too. I loved
Yeah.
it too, but now I just go to Vegas.
Well, that's glitter and glam in a whole
It's
different
glitter
way.
and it's
Yeah.
beautiful and they decorate. But no, I mean, things change. Like I loved all that too. That tree, that was serenity. That was just such serenity when I was with my family, you know, and I loved it. But I hadn't tried it since.
Well, my daughter doesn't even care. I mean, she's in that mid-range teenager age, so like, even with Christmas cards and stuff, she can care less. I mean, she'll do what if I ask her something, but you know, she's just off in that, and I get that. And so, you know, I don't have any family. I really don't. I have lots of friends. I'm very blessed with a great
Oh,
circle of people in my life. But so I consider a lot of people family, but it's just life, you know. Again, it'll be gone. We're going to be into January, and then all that shit's got to come down, and then it's just a memory again, and we move forward, and it's like, okay, time to step on the gas and let's go.
that's right.
So,
That's right.
all right.
You
Speaking of
got it.
going, unfortunately, we're going to have to go. Time
Yes.
flies when you're having fun.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I want to thank you. Tell everybody one more time how they can find you, okay?
Yes, I'm just Cathy Nutt, easy, and on Facebook you can find me there. My email is cathy_nutt@att.net, and you can also find me on the Jay Ritchie Live Show if you want to check out our sports talk show. And feel free to contact me anytime, Messenger or what. I'll always answer.
Wow, always answer. And
I
she
always
picks up.
answer.
Well, that's good. That's good because, you know, it gets harder. I mean, I'm having a hard time. People don't realize, you know, they're texting and you know, because with Facebook you can do all that, but I can't answer a lot of the things because it gets a little. It comes and goes and flows, but it's just, you just can't take care of everybody because there's way more of them than there is of me. So I have to pass the duty along sometimes, and that's, you know, the way it is. But you know, I still manage to at least acknowledge a lot of people's birthdays every single day personally on Facebook as they pop
I do
up.
too. I do too.
There's thousands of them too, and it's like, you know, there's usually 15 to 20 a day.
Yes,
But I'll do it, and I'll do it because it's these people that have made it all possible. So again, grateful.
that's
Grateful.
right. Thank you.
All right, listen. So thank you for saving me from having to be here and talk to myself today. I mean, I could have done it anytime. Okay, we're going to write that down. But
And you
again,
owe me one. You got to save me sometime.
baby, all you got to do is call me.
Call
You know,
me.
Text
me. Text me. Call me.
There you go. I'm there for you. But again, I appreciate your time. I know it's late. Ladies and gentlemen, the infamous Cathy Nutt from the Artist First Radio Network, Cathy Nutt Show. Go check her out, and thank you. And we'll be talking to you soon, I guess. Next year.
Okay.
Next year.
Okay.
All right, love you.
Can't wait.
Thank you.
Love you.
Good night.
Bye,
Good
y'all.
night. Cathy Nutt, right there, came to the rescue. We had a great show. I had another great show, and we're going to save the show that we should have had. And I'm going to, if I can't get Laura Tranza from her books about on narcissism, if I can't get her next week, we'll get her in next year sometime. But you know, she's sick, and people get sick. It happens. You know, life is at least is something that that she'll be better from in the long run. But again, I thank Cathy for jumping to the deed in the last, you know, final hour. When I called her, she said yes, and there she was. And again, always I can she can relate. So check her show out if you can. Artist First Radio Network. Just Google it, and then you'll see the Cathy Nutt Show, and you'll see her there. And she's got the new sports show, too. I'm going to tell you guys again about subscribing. Don't forget, okay? Because it's important. I want you guys, I don't know. Again, as touchy as YouTube is, I still ask that you be kind enough and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free. It's free. And then we'll talk about this. I'm going to do the flashcards because I find that this is very, it's educational. The Peter G Show has a podcast now. It's finally back up. I've had a podcast, but it wasn't working for the past 2 years, or at least we weren't uploading to it. So we have a podcast back up, Peter G Show. Remember? Peter G Show. Oops, Peter G Show right there. And it's on iTunes. So when you think of podcasts, think of Peter G Show. On iTunes. Subscribe. It's free. You can listen to the show anywhere, in the car, at work. Just put an earbud in. You might learn something. You might get all warm and fuzzy. I'll see you guys next week. As always, we're going to be changing the day and the time of the show in 2022. We will no longer be on Sundays. I'll start telling you about that probably next week. And we'll start advertising, but I want you all to join me. I'm trying to make it easier for you to join me and your friends. Tell your friends. As always, be kind. God knows we need it. There's a lot of hate going on, you know, and it's sad. I'm super sad over all this crap, but it is what it is. And I don't mean that as a give up. You can't change this stuff overnight. We're having to do it one at a time, but start by you. Reach that hand out, even though it's a mess. And people we love, we're arguing with over our current situations and taking sides and division and racism that doesn't really exist, but it's being, created to look like it exists, and people are buying into it. Love, people. Love. I love you for watching this show. I know you have choices. I thank and love you for taking the time to watch this show. I thank Cathy Nutt for coming on this show and making it much more pleasurable, a lot more painless. Christmas is right around the corner. We'll talk more about that stuff, but hang in there, okay? You don't have to be an asshole, but you don't have to take a bunch of shit from people either. Life is full of choices. So, again, as always, I love you guys. See you next Sunday. Don't forget, clips run all through the week. Share, share, share. Peace out.
Peter G Show. Peter G Show.